Okay, so we need to learn some standards. We need to be able to, understand how standards are put together from the bottom up in order to improvise over them. We're just going to look at the first 4 bars of Autumn Leaves because that's plenty of material. And because it's a 2-5-1, let's do it in G minor. So that means a 2-5-1 in B flat major followed by chord 4. You'll see the chord chart up here. And so we can play like this. We can play in the B position like that, or we can play the voicings in our left hand, play the melody, and so on. So we should be able to do that. So we're going to talk about substitutions and changing some of these things up to make them sound a little bit more hip. Because, the 2-5-1 is great, but it can get a little bit predictable. So the first thing we can do is we can do a tritone substitution on the F7 because it's part of a 2-5-1. So instead of playing F7, a tritone down from F7 is B7. So I'm going to go. So instantly I've got a slightly different sound. This is the original. This is now our substitution. And you'll notice that the bass line now is chromatic instead of jumping up a 4th and then down a 5th. So now we just have this movement, which is super cool. So we've gone from improvising something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe to I always need to try these things a few times to get warmed up. It's quite hard to just jump into these little demonstrations. So excuse me while I try and play it better. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully you heard there the B7 that time, something like this. Didn't quite know exactly what I did. So that's a different sound you can invoke. I could also think about F7 altered. So I'm playing a B7 voicing, but an F in the bass. So that gives me access to the F altered scale, which is G flat melodic minor, starting on F. So I can play something like this, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going around the A section there. So so I'm thinking about F altered, and that resolves really nicely down, landing on the 3rd of B flat major 7. The 4th chord, E flat major, is the 4th major chord in B flat. So a great opportunity to use our major Lydian sound. So let's revise that. So E flat major could come from E flat major, but because we're already in the key of B flat, it makes more sense. It makes more logical sense that E flat major is coming from the key of B flat. So that means instead of having an A flat, we have an A natural. So again, it's a slightly different sound Beautiful sound. So let's try, I'll play something slowly so you guys can try and see what I'm doing. So I'm thinking about C minor, like Dorian, but passing notes. And now I'm going to F7 altered. B flat major. And then E flat Lydian. And then we're into A minor. And then D7 altered, and then G minor. Or G minor major even. So, yeah, so that's a little bit of an insight into improvising using slightly more exotic harmony and trying to implement it on a standard.